Steve, obviously I'd like to start with transfers given the window closes tomorrow. Can you give us an update on where you are with any incomings?
Well, I won't deny that Jonjo's having a medical, because I think you've all seen him, so it would be wrong for me to do that. Don't want to say much more than that at the moment, obviously, because you've got to respect the process. If the process is completed, then yeah, we'll talk openly about that. And apart from that, there is nothing else to report on. Obviously, there's a lot of work going on. Some things could happen, but they might not as well, and that's in and out of the club. So I'm sure there's speculation of all sorts. Some of it may be true, some of it may be nowhere near the truth. So yeah, that's where we're at the moment. I'd love to give you more information. Obviously, the window is closing soon, but that's all I can say up to now.
And on Jonjo, what was it about him?
Well, like I said, let's respect the process. He's having a medical, and that's fine. But let's get through that. We've got a game on Wednesday. There's another press conference then, obviously, I think on Thursday, Friday, and we can, if it's something to talk about, we'll talk about it then. But yeah, I'd love to talk more. I'd love to give you more information about maybe some more incomings and things like that. But that's where we are at the moment.
The summer was all about players coming in, of course. Players have joined in this window too, as you say, imminently, potentially another one, maybe more. I mean, how would you like the balance of your squad to look like tomorrow night when the window does close?
Well, I think like any transfer window, you want to you want a window to close with the squad in a stronger place than when it started. And I guess what's been slightly unfortunate for us, both before and during the window, is that we've picked up injuries. And some illnesses as well. So that has sort of added to the jigsaw, if you like, of trying to put the squad together. We had some clear plans going into the window, and some of them are things that we've tried to complete. But I think there's been some added stuff to that, like I said, because of the injuries. But the objective always is to try and make the squad stronger and have the right balance and depth and improve the team and stuff like that. But any manager would say the same. But we're still working away. A lot of work going on. My mantra, as you've heard me say so many times, is just work with the players that you see every day. And when that changes, you adapt and you change with it. But no, my job is to coach the team, is to coach the players and try and prepare for the next game.
I can understand your reticence not to want to talk about players coming in potentially. But what about players that are here? Are there any that could potentially leave before the deadline?
There is, yeah. And like I said, it's all what ifs at the moment. If somebody comes in, then it might be an opportunity for somebody to leave. I'm not saying it's the case, but there's some players that might be thinking they might want to leave, but they can't because they're needed here. So we have every scenario really in terms of ins and outs, but what it will look like when the window closes, I can't quite tell you. It could be nothing from now, it could be quite a lot, but let's wait and see.
I've seen Lewis O'Brien, Harry Toffolo, two players that are being linked with a move. Any truth to those reports?
There's definitely been interest in some players, but I go back to where the players leave will be down to whether it's right on our terms, and we never want to make life difficult for any player, but at the same time, we have to do what's always right for the club. The two guys you just mentioned there are fantastic lads and professionals, and we'd like having them with us, and they've contributed well this season, and if that continues with them, then great. But there's nothing really to add to that. As I said, it's a lot could happen between now and tomorrow night, but if not, then we carry on working away.
And what's the balance that you have to strike with regards to incomings? Because you had a lot of arrivals in the summer. We spoke a lot during that first part of the season about getting the players to group together. That World Cup break gave you that extra pre-season. Since we've seen results and performances improve. Yeah. We're in another transfer window. We've got more players coming in. What challenges and what are the dangers that come with it?
Well, I think you've got to be careful you don't compare both windows, because they're very different times of the season. We're in a better place now than what we were in the summer in terms of cohesion amongst the squad, and we've obviously alongside that with the club getting back into the Premier League again and us feeling what Premier League football is like and the surroundings that go on with it, because they do. So we're at a completely different stage now to then. And that's what we've got to try and do. We've got to try and live in the moment we're in now, feel what we think it takes to improve the team and the squad, and try and do that if we can. If not, we carry on working away. As you said, we've done okay with results of recent time. Not exactly where we want to be in the league, but we certainly have been in worse positions, and we've got to keep working. We've got to work even harder to try and improve that, while dealing with the games as they come, while dealing with, as you said, challenges of injuries and stuff like that, but staying really motivated, enjoying our work, enjoying each other's company, and really committing to the next game, because we have got one coming up, by the way.
Well, I was going to ask, does it help the games on Wednesday as well, rather than Tuesday?
Yeah. Listen, it was obviously a disappointing first leg in the result, and there's no doubt about that. And I think we were all frustrated in the manner of and the timing of the goals, but it's a situation that we found ourselves in, and we have to deal with it going into the second leg. And in terms of qualifying for the final, it's obviously an incredibly tough task. It would have been anyway to beat Man United over 2 legs, but we've made it even harder. But I go back to it's a semi-final. It's a stage that the club hasn't been on for a while, so we've got to respect that. We've certainly got to respect the supporters that are travelling to go and watch the game. And when you play for Nottingham Forest, it's an honour and a privilege, and you have to represent that in the best way possible. So it's a game that we're looking forward to, a game that we have objectives in that we want to try and achieve. See where it takes us in terms of the actual game, but we want to try and, like I said, come away from there, given what we've can to try and get through, which we know is an unbelievable task. But if that doesn't happen, knowing after we've given our best that we've, hopefully made some progression in some of the things that we're trying to improve on, and that's what we're trying to do.
And what about the shape of the squad, fitness issues? I mean, is there an update, for example, on Morgan Gibbs-White?
Morgan's injured, I can tell you that. Obviously, you've seen him limp off, and I think most people assumed that he'll be out for a little while with the nature of what happened. And there's a bit of illness flying around, if I'm being honest, as well. Jack Colback, Chris Wood's been struggling. I know Chris can't. Yates is still struggling. So we're going to have to assess all them things closer to the day. Chris not, because he can't play because he's cup tied. But yeah, there's a little bit of a bug flying around. But no complaints. We get on with it, and we try and prepare the best we can. Spirit's been good in the camp. Obviously there was a frustration after, like I said, some of the things that we didn't do very well against United and in the first leg. But we have to put that behind us and use it as motivation to improve.
Lovely. Thanks, Steve.
Thank you. Cheers.
Steve, I just wonder, is there an element, because of the stage of this game, is there an element of sort of, I don't want to call it free hit to it almost? You can try a few things, you can experiment with some stuff, maybe look at some things you might not over.
I just think we're at a stage where we're just trying to improve on everything. We're trying to, we feel like we're on a journey of becoming the team that we end up wanting to be, to play and compete well week in, week out in the Premier League. And I think the only way to do that is to treat every game with great importance, in terms of not just trying to get the right result, but trying to get the performance, but in our way and our style. And that's how we feel, through good and bad, we can get to that level. So so that's what we're thinking about, really. I'm not going to lie about the being 3-0 down and all that sort of stuff. It would be wrong to do that. But we still have to go and represent our great club at another, obviously huge stage, Manchester United, and do our very best to do ourselves justice and do the club and the supporters justice. And we shouldn't look any further than that, really.
A lot of the change is perhaps unfair. The building that's been going on both before and after the World Cup looks from the outside to have been built around character. How important, when you're looking at new players coming in, is character, and that they can slot into that wrestling and not just the talent?
Yeah, it's always important, character and confidence and belief and self-worth. All of them things are really important to ongoing progression and performance. So it's something that we've looked at, not just this season, but since we came in, and that will continue going forward. And every time you work with new players, you try and get to know them as best you can, and try and see their true personalities and what their motivations are. So that's an ever growing, ongoing process with every single player, and us understanding each player and them understanding each other can be really important to becoming a real team that's inclusive of good teamship and good spirit and good support for each other while trying to get the best out of each other. So that's a big part of our work anyway.
And just lastly for me, I know you've not had much luck with injuries over this spell, to say the least, but it must be pleasing to you as a head coach to see the club to actually look at that and go, do you know what, they are going to need the help, they are going to need to fill those gaps and see them.
Yeah, obviously, it has been unfortunate that you maybe go into a window with certain plans, and that can be knocked, can knock you off track a little bit because of the stuff that's happened in the window. In some ways, you can say at least it's happened in the window and not after it. But just get on with it. For me, I'm always next man up. Like I say, work with the players that are available. Try and get the best out of them to be ready for the next game. If you start moaning and being negative about situations, then I think it gets even worse in people's minds. So we're really enjoying training. We're really enjoying trying to improve. I like the focus in the group, and we've just got to keep that going.
Cheers, thank you.
Thank you.
Hi Steve, just a couple from me. You mentioned there about training, feeling refreshing. Of course, you've had a rare full week. How nice has that been since a packed fixture list on the back of the World Cup?
Yeah, it's been nice to get out on the training pitch. I think that slightly strange that the weeks become between two Wednesdays. That's not normally something that happens. So obviously contesting with a free weekend when there's loads of other games going on has been different. But yeah, you take a games program and schedule as it comes, and you try and fit the best training schedule and learning schedule around it. We always try and do that, plan in advance, and we're committing to that. So we've actually got quite a few weeks now coming up with some good training time. So just hope we can make the most of it.
I was going to say, how useful is that to integrate the new players, the ones that have already come in this window and some potential coming in?
Yeah, but it's not just about that. It's about some of the guys that we're on strong programs with can sometimes, I wouldn't say go on the back burner, but can be on hold because they're recovering and playing games, particularly some of the younger players that we're working with. Although we will do the learning off the pitch as we do, but on the pitch is something that can sometimes you have to accept that you maybe can't commit to too much because there's a lot of games going on. So it's not just about new players, and it is as well. It is about introducing new players and trying to get them to understand how we want the team to play and where they would fit in. You have to be careful with that because every player is different, and some pick it up quicker than others. And you have to be mindful of not overloading a player that can cause a little bit of confusion, and that's not a good thing. So sometimes you have to. Some can pick it up straight away. Some will take a little while, and we learnt that in the summer. So, but we're always working with individuals, whether they've been here from day one or whether they've just walked through the door. We're always trying to think about what's right for them, we do our very best to try and provide what they need.
It's funny you mentioned about setting objectives ahead of this game. You might be able to share what some of those objectives might be.
Well, first and foremost, you want to try and get a positive result and a positive performance, and that's really where it starts. You can go into a next level of what you want from certain individuals and certain areas of the pitches, and we will do that. But what we won't be doing is going into the game really disheartened about the 3-0, if you like. We've accepted that that's the situation we've put ourselves in, but we have to treat the game for what it is, a game on a huge stage in a semi-final, and to try and on the night get a positive result and performance. A positive result might not be a result to get you through to the next to the final, and that's the likelihood of the situation we're in. There's no point in trying to dress up something else. But for me, if you have a real mentality and a real spirit in the group, you bring it to every single game, regardless of the context around the situation. So that's what I'm hoping.
Thanks, Steve.
Thank you. Cheers.
Thank you. Can we have cameras up? please, and we'll move to the written section.